Morning, everyone. Can you guys hear me all right? Morning, good morning. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. Morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Good. Good. Thank God it's Friday, right? Morning, good morning. How's everyone doing today? Morning. So we'll get started here in just a few minutes, guys.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, Steve, how are you? Good morning.
Pretty good. How are you?
Good.
Cool. What's up, guys?
We'll get started here in just a few minutes.
So we checked out the World Expo.
Oh,
Osaka.
how's that?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun, and it was cool because I checked out the one, I think it was 2020 in Dubai.
Wow.
So I got to kind of have a comparison. Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. That's great to hear, dude.
Yeah. They did a pretty cool light show, fountain show after. It was pretty big, pretty cool.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So what is that? Like, world? Is it just different kind of countries represented, essentially?
Yeah, basically. So every country, they kind of set up a building or they could all kind of share inside of a building. Then they kind of highlight, some of their cultural stuff, some of their,
Right.
innovations that they're working on. And kind of, sometimes it's cool because they even have like a restaurant of their local food in there.
Right.
So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Um, some of them have a long wait though, like 30 minutes or more, but they're all pretty fun. The coolest one that we liked was Spain, because Spain had like the Spanish dancers and the music. Then you go inside and they showed all the kind of history, which is cool. But then you finish, they've got sangrias and tapas, and we're like, oh my God, this is.
Damn, it sounds like a great time, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You should have FaceTimed me out there, bro. Come on.
What was that?
You should have done a FaceTime out there with me.
I know, yeah. Yeah, they're pretty awesome. Long day though. I mean, we spent 8 hours and we probably saw like 50-60% of it. It's like a city.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, a lot of fun.
All right, should we just get started here, Steve?
Sounds like a plan.
Cool. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to live trading. If this is your first time on live trading, welcome. We use the webinars channel in Slack to communicate. The way that we structure live trading is very simple. We talk about what's working in the market, what's not working in the market. We build the watch list live, and we trade the watch list live. So let's first start off with where we're at overall. So yesterday was actually a pretty solid day for me. Made $6,000 yesterday, so nothing too crazy, nothing too special. But most of my profit came from a pre-market trade on ELAB. ELAB ended up going from $5 all the way down to $2. So that was a really good trade. I tried trading this LGCB, and LGCB quite literally waited until I left to crash. So as soon as I left around 10:20s, that marked the top, and the stock ended up getting absolutely destroyed. So congrats to everyone that used the Alex indicator. Once again, it is the only indicator in the market that is more consistent than anything. So that was LGCB. And then we had, I think it was ZVSA. ZVSA, was that the ticker? Or Zena maybe? Zena, yeah. Zena, pretty much similar type of thing. Ended up squeezing out one last time before losing support and just kind of going straight down. So although I made, I had a solid day yesterday. Had I been a little bit more patient, I could have really made it a lot larger. But with the market cycle that we've been in lately, I've really been trying to just do less is more. I've really been trying to just be more disciplined and more patient. There is going to be plenty of times that the Alex indicator goes off. There's going to be plenty of times where it doesn't go off. But if I could consistently show up to the market and consistently be green every day, that's all I'm looking for essentially. So that brings me to, like I said, $30,000 on the month. Again, way better than last month, but still not where I want it to be. Obviously we all have our goals. Obviously we're all trying to do whatever we're trying to do. But I've been saying it kind of like a broken record every single day. It's like the market is just not allowing us to really size up on these opportunities. The opportunities are few and far between. The opportunities are tracking. The opportunities are not doing what we want them to do. So we have to be able to adjust and adapt accordingly based on what the market is giving us. So don't get me wrong, I want to make $100, $200, $300 million a month, but if there's no 6-7 figure opportunities, then I'm not going to be involved, right? So that's kind of what my thought is. Overall markets yesterday, Google reported earnings. They had a pretty solid beat on their earnings, and they did a stock buyback, and they increased their dividend. So they did everything right, and the stock is up a little bit. The biggest thing to understand about these large cap stocks or the overall market sentiment or everything that's going on right now is, yes, they could have good numbers. I mean, look at Tesla. Tesla had horrendous numbers, and they went straight up. Google had amazing numbers, and they went straight up. So the thing about this market, guys, is, like I said, you could have the numbers right in front of you, but that does not mean that you're going to know exactly what these earnings are going to do. In the case of Google, I would say that so long as the stock doesn't sell off on these good earnings, then we could start to say that maybe a short-term bottom is in on everything. If you look at the indexes are pretty much right back to where they were before Trump's Liberation Day. I mean, how crazy is that? 2 weeks ago, everyone was talking about it's a bear market, we're going to be in a depression, it's all over, game over, and then 2 weeks later, we're literally right back to where it all started, right? So that's what I always say, guys. Don't listen to the media. The media doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. When everyone says it's a recession, that's the time to buy. When everyone says we're going higher, that's the time to sell. So that's just really, really important. I think that obviously we're going to probably have some resistance up here in the 550s on the S&P 500. But I would say at least short term, unless there's no other crazy headlines, that was probably the bottom, right? And if you guys remember, we bought a significant amount of long-term stocks on that bottom day, right? Significant amount. So that just goes to show, guys, that it's all about timing and it's all about patience in the market. Everyone and their mom is saying that there's going to be a recession happening. Everyone and their mom is saying there's going to be a depression happening. In my opinion, we've already been in a recession for the last couple of years, So I think that's all bullshit. Plus, they changed the definition of what a recession actually is. So who the hell knows these days anymore? But in my opinion, guys, I think at least in the short term, barring any crazy headlines, that probably the overall markets have bottomed, right? Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to go straight up to all-time highs, but I would say that we'll probably be holding this range for a while, right? So the biggest lesson here is to understand that when everyone and their mom is saying that there's a recession happening, when everyone and their grandma is saying that the stock market is going to crash, that's actually the time that you want to buy. That's the time that you want to get aggressive, and that's the time that you want to be involved in the market. So it just so happened that we bottomed it, right? We bottomed the market. I think I still have that watch list somewhere if anyone wants to pull it up. But overall, even if you put, again, just talking about like 100 grand, even if you put 100 grand, some of these stocks are up 20%. You just made 20 grand on your investment in, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So I think that we're probably still going to be seeing a bunch of China headlines. We're going to see a bunch of Trump headlines. We're going to see a bunch of everything. So this in no means that, we're going to go straight up to all-time highs. But I would assume that, over the course of the rest of the year, the dips are going to be bought. Once again, barring any weird news that comes out or anything like that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking on the overall market. Let's talk about the small cap market. AREB, multi-day runner, kind of doing its thing. ACRV pushed and kind of failed. So it's Friday. I'm not looking to get too crazy. I'm not looking to get too aggressive. I just want to make my easy money and walk away. So let's build a watch list and let's try to find some decent plays. So as you guys know, the way that I build the watch list, I always look at the previous day's watch list first and build from there. ENSC, this stock did a whole lot of nothing, so ignoring. SNOA did a whole lot of nothing, so ignoring. LGCB, this was a stock that I shorted yesterday, ended up finally coming back down. Maybe if we get a bounce towards 220, 240, and 260 to short. So let's see if we get a nice bounce on this. So 220, LGCB, 220, 240, 260 lines. So scale in short. One sec. VIVS ended up just kind of going straight down, so no real opportunity there. BCTX ended up going straight fucking down. I think they had an offering, so nothing to really do there. ELAB, this was a stock that I shorted yesterday. Volume dried up, range dried up, so came back down. AREB, this was a stock that Harry put on his watch list yesterday. He said looking for a hold over VWAP for a move to 4. He got that plus more. It's kind of coming up on day 2 right now. It does look a little bit weak, so I'll kind of wait to see how AREB reacts around 450 and 470. If we reject 450 and 470, we'll come back down. If we just kind of continue higher, then I'm probably just going to ignore it. So my thought process on this is AREB. AREB, nice call from Harry yesterday. Oops, shit. I accidentally hit enter. Nice call from Harry yesterday on the long. Ideally, watching to see how 450 and 470 acts before I place a trade. If we break over pre-market high day, I will ignore this. So just waiting for more information first. Let's look at Tom's watch list. OLB looking for a bounce towards VWAP 192 and 210. So OLB looking for a bounce toward VWAP 190 to 210 to short. OMEX, multi-day runner over the previous day's highs. Hot stock ignoring. Multi-day runner over previous day's high of the day. Multi-day runner, previous day's high of the day. Most likely the hot stock, so ignoring the short. And MGRX just pop and drop, looking for a bounce toward 240, 260, 280 to short. CEP, new IPO that finally started to top out yesterday. So patiently watching this to see if the morning gap up sells off, and then I will look to join the trend to the downside. This is exactly like Newsmax and Bull. And what was the other IPO stock? Newsmax, Bull, and what the hell was the other one? I forgot. Not CEP. CoreWeave. CRWV. CoreWeave. And then ACRV. ACRV looking for a bounce towards 240, 260, 280. ACRV, 240, 260, 280. So there should be plenty on watch today, guys. Plenty of stocks on watch. Okay, let me see what you guys are posting too. Give me a second here. Excuse me. TMC. Yeah, TMC I don't really like. It kind of had this weird fail and then kind of came back. So I don't want to see it fail and kind of come back. So I don't really see it here. Plus it's breaking out on the daily chart. So definitely no trade there. I really don't like that chart. I don't know why you guys like that chart. It kind of looks like a daily chart breakout. It has high volume. The end of the day dip ended up reclaiming. So this would be a scenario of something that I would say that doesn't really have much edge. So I would not really be interested in that one. Remember, every stock that's moving, guys, does not mean that we have to trade it. Oftentimes, the more that we can disqualify these stocks, the better it is for us. So I'm always looking for reasons to not take these trades, looking for reasons to not look at these stocks, because the more selective I can be in my trading, the better off I'll be. So with that being said, I'm going to pass the baton over to Steve, and I will let Steven take it from here. So Steven, the floor is yours, man.
Sounds good. Cool. So Friday's here. Where did the week go? I don't know. So yeah, I was talking to a member yesterday, and this is a really common problem that I thought I'd kind of talk about a little bit today. And he, sometimes spirals. He has like a couple losses, and then he'll revenge trade, and he won't accept his losses, add to his loser, etc. So I kind of thought about this, and I talked about this, I don't know, a month or so ago, but I kind of refined this a little bit and added some things to it. And I thought it would be a good one to touch on again. So today I want to talk about accepting losses, right? So first, the key thing and the reason it's so important to accept your losses is because when you don't, bad things happen, right? And by not accepting losses, I mean, the member I spoke with, and I think we've all been there. I mean, when I was newer, I definitely fell into this trap. But you don't want to be wrong. You know, add to your losers, you keep trading when you shouldn't, you're not really having a plan and you're just looking for a way to make your money back. It's kind of this whole negative thing, right? So anyways, I want to kind of touch on this. If you guys have had any experiences or if there's been any things that have helped you, feel free to post and then we can talk about it afterwards. So yeah, why is accepting losses so hard for many traders? And I have one really good idea that I'll get to at the end on this that I've kind of thought about for a while. But in general, a couple things here. Ego, we want to be right. I think that's the main thing. I think that's why, you know, a lot of times we kind of see that a lot of women traders end up sometimes being better than us, right? Because a lot of times women don't have the kind of big ego that a lot of us have. Like I personally don't like to be wrong, right? I think a lot of you are in the same boat as me. You know, we want to do well. If we play sports or we do something competitive, we want to win, right? Sometimes women are just like, hey, here's, you know, my plan. I stuck to it, didn't work. So now let's go do something else. And need to fight harder and I'm going to make, you know, the money back or whatever. So I think that's a kind of good trait that, you know, a lot of women have and a lot of female traders doing better in that aspect than men. So next one is confirmation bias. We only pay attention to info that supports our trade idea and ignores red flags. So yeah, sometimes when you want to be right, you're kind of only seeing like, let's say you're short and you really want to be right. So even though it's not working out and it's coming towards your stop, you're like, oh wait, there's some volume coming in. It's, you know, speeding up. Maybe it's going to reject here, and you move your stop up, you move your stop up, whatever the case is. That's confirmation bias, and that's bad. When we make our plans before we're in the trade, we have no emotions on it. We didn't see any money coming or going. So we should just make the plans based on logic. That's why when we're in the trades, we just stick to the plans, and that's the easiest way, right? Yeah, Jeff, that's a DEI plug. Exactly. Trying to score some points. Uh, Lastly, but not least, financial pressure. Sometimes we're trading because we need the money. We feel like we can't afford to lose. The crazy thing about that is, you know, the more money we try to make, usually the more we lose, right? And I don't know if you've probably not been there, that might not make a lot of sense to you, but I'll bet you a lot of you that have been trading for a long time can relate to that. I see a lot of traders come in and they do really well right away. And I talk to them a little bit, what do you do? And what's your, you know, line of work and et cetera, et cetera. And they're usually like, you know, happy in their career, money's fine, not a problem. They're just doing this to try to learn a new skill, right? And they usually do pretty well, like the ones that don't really need the money. And then traders will come in like, man, I can't, you know, whatever the case is, you know, I can't, whatever, pay my membership or pay my rent unless I make money on this trade. They usually never make money, right? So it's kind of ironic that, you know, the more greedy we are in trading, the more money we want or we feel like we need, the less we actually get, and we end up actually losing more. So financial pressure is a big one. So the truth is, losses are part of the game. Every trader has them. What matters is how you respond, right? How to work on accepting your losses instead of adding to your losers for revenge trading. One is accepting reality. Not all trades will work. Red days are normal. Losses don't define you. How you handle them does. Next, plan every trade. You know, we talked about this a lot. Have a complete plan on your trade. I talked about this earlier. Complete plan should consist of your risk amount, share size, entries, stops, and covers. This gives you structure, not guesswork. If you need any help with this, just get active in the discipline workshop. This is exactly what we do in the discipline workshop. Next is redefine success. This is taught me when I was pretty new here, and it made a lot of sense. And it's one that we use in the discipline workshop. You know, it's one of our guidelines. Judge your day based on how well you stuck to your plan, not your P&L. So yeah, if you're always thinking about, you know, I'm green today, I'm red, I'm green. I mean, this mindset gets really tough if things aren't going well. So the best thing to do, what we do in the discipline workshop, is we've got a calendar Every day that you win on your process, meaning you stuck to your plan regardless of the P&L, you get a big fat win for the day, right? So the goal is to fill your months with wins. P&L, it's relevant, but in this exercise, it's not relevant, right? Because the goal of the discipline workshop is to get the emotions out and get the good habits in, right? And what members who are in the workshop generally find after a month or two, I'm sure there's a lot of you listening now, is when they focused on their plans, the profits just followed, right? That's usually the way it works. When we focus on the profits, they usually don't follow, right? Next, shift your mindset. We're conditioned to try harder when we're losing. In trading, it's the opposite. You push when your trades are working. When things aren't going well, you size down and hit the brakes. So it's like I said earlier. I mean, let's say, some of us played whatever, ping pong. And when I get down, when I find somebody who's really good, I used to play a little bit. When I find somebody that's better than me, I end up playing harder, and I'm like, man, I got to fight back. I got to try to beat this guy. And even if I lose a game, I want to play again. I want to play again. I want to play again. That's just my nature, right? You don't want to lose. You want to improve, and you want to beat them, right? But in trading, that kind of thinking, which we've been conditioned our whole life with, is counterproductive, because the more we fight, the worse we do. We're already in a spiral. We're already losing. And for whatever reason we haven't assessed yet, we're losing. It could be the market isn't favoring our setup. Could be we're just trading poorly. It could be whatever. But that's not the time to say, let's have a rematch. Let's have a rematch. Let's fight harder, right? But any 5-year-old will tell you, if you ask them, what do you do when you're losing? They'll say they fight harder, right? That's what we teach. We're taught. So in trading, you've got to change that mindset. It's wrong, right? When we lose, let's say the other opponent looks like he's a little better. He's got me 3-0. I just quit, right? Quit, put the paddle down, come back tomorrow, find an easier opponent. That's perfectly fine. The goal isn't to beat every stock or every opponent. The goal is to make money. So when things are favoring your setup, the trade is favoring you, it's not manipulated, it's doing what you think, what it should do, then you get in there and you add and you size in and you stick with it, right? So that's a big one.
That's awesome, Steve. That right there was pure gold, dude. That was gold.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it's like, it makes a lot of sense. Like I always wondered, like I talked to members, and even, years ago, I was, I would go through these, because as you know, the reason I started the discipline workshop, what's it been, about 3 years, was because when I was a newer trader, I had all the problems that most new traders have. I would revenge trade, I did all that kind of stuff. So I would try to figure out, like, why is it me and every other trader I meet that we all have the same problem? But if you think about it, it makes sense. Like, nobody ever teaches their kid, hey, when somebody's a little better than you, you just give up and leave, all right? Like, nobody ever said that, ever, in the history of sports or competition or anything. But in trading, that's exactly what you've got to do, right? If that stock is being manipulated or it's just not doing what you expect, just give it up and whatever you need to do. Close down your computer, come back tomorrow, whatever it is. But don't sit there and play that opponent, So I think that's changing that mindset for me really helped me to take things to the next level and get rid of those kind of bad habits. So hopefully it helps some of you guys. And yeah, besides that, just review and improve. Every loss is a lesson. Study what went wrong and use our resources to improve. So hope that makes sense. Let me see if you guys had any questions before I wrap up. Yep. Guys want to win all the time. We don't have time for losers. Yep. Cool. I think that's it. I don't see any questions here. Yeah, good points, guys.
That's awesome, Steve. I think Steven's coming out with some Friday morning gold out here.
Yeah, hopefully that's helpful. I mean, makes sense. Got to change our mindset.
All right, guys. I'm going to
for me.
Call the live stream here for the YouTube guys. I guess just as a reminder, we talked to Cobra, and they are doing a larger promo for our guys. So if you open up your account, or you switch your account from any other broker to Cobra between now and May 16, the offer is doubled to 60 days free commission, 60 days free platform, 90 days live trading, and 10 people to come to the New York Stock Exchange with me. So this is only going to be valid until May 16th. And after May 16th, you will be back to the original promo. What I'm going to do is, if for some reason the people that signed up, if you signed up a month ago, like, I mean, there's really nothing we could do. But if you signed up like a week ago, if you guys signed up a week ago and they are not honoring it, just come to me and I'll see if I can give you guys some more live trading to compensate. But this is not going to be for people that signed up, 2 months ago, right? So if you signed up within the last week and they don't want to kind of add it, just let me know and I'll give you guys something on my end. But from now until May 16, if you miss the May 16 cutoff, it'll be back to the 30 days free commission, 30 days free platform, and 60 days live trading. But it is a huge, huge promo. I asked if I qualify. They said no. So I tried for myself too. So I get it. I would still try if I was you guys, but I tried for myself and they said no. So it is what it is. But with that being said, guys, let's get into live trading today and let's see what happens.